Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick, and this is my daily ramble. Hope you're all well. As always, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe and drop a like on the video. What we're going to talk about today, well, I loathe to sort of go through the vast amount of transfer rumours there are at the moment. So what I've done is I've spoken to a few people, looked at the articles, and I've just kind of rationalised, and I've come up with a few good links that you might not have seen, and I'll let you know what they are at the end of the video. These are the strongest links anyway, the ones that I think are most likely. But before we get there, as we all know, same old subject. David Moyes, the contract talks that are apparently supposed to be happening this month, but I don't believe that they will, are causing division in the fan base. They are, irrespective of what the people that are pro-Moyes want to think. You know, they say, oh, it's only a minority of fans that don't want David Moyes. And then the people on the other side are saying the same thing. The fact is, it is a split. You can run a poll anywhere. You can run a poll anywhere on social media, and it will be a split, and still, to be quite honest, heavily weighted against David Moyes. But because of how well he's done, favour is creeping up for him. So he's getting to sort of 30s and 40% now in some polls. But the division is still there. You've only got to listen to the boos that we heard inside the stadium at full time. And some people that were there said, look, it wasn't everywhere. It was pockets of boos. But it's division. So we literally went on a great run. We beat Man United, we beat Arsenal, and we drew at home to Brighton, and the team got booed off the pitch. This is not a happy fan base. It's not a together fan base. And the fact of the matter is, as I've said before, David Moyes is only ever going to be 3 or 4 bad results away from almost the entire fan base turning on him. People will accept it, and they get giddy when you're sitting in 6th and all the results are coming in. But the fact of the matter is, we've been overperforming. I'm not one to sort of go big on stats or anything like that. I'm not. You know, XG and all that stuff, expected goals. But the one that does seem to sort of warrant, or at least the trend of the last 5 years has been relatively accurate, is expected points. Now, expected points takes in all of the other attributes that kind of, you know, XG and all the others that kind of that gets spewed out, and then it develops an expected points per game. And that at the moment has got us sitting at 13th after 20 games. Obviously, we're in 6th. We're way outperforming that. And you've got teams like Chelsea that are down in wherever they are, and they should be kind of up where we are because they've been underperforming in terms of points haul. We've been overperforming. And what has proven the case over the past 5 years at least is that results do tend to catch up to performances. We've scraped so many wins, so many wins. We just have. You know, how many games have we actually deserved to win? Think about it. You know, even in the last 2 games, if you can factor in Arsenal, I was there, I loved that game. But we conceded 30 chances on goal. We conceded 20 chances on goal against Brighton. No, it was 55 over 2 games. So what is that, genius or is that luck not conceding in those games? What is it? You be the judge. You know, it's not genius. It's not. And those devastating heavy defeats, you know, against Fulham, Aston Villa and Liverpool, they weren't anomalies. They are just a representation of what will happen when you play the way that we play and afford so many chances to the opposition. Occasionally, the opposition are going to have their shooting boots on and they're going to convert a fair few of the chances that we afford any opposition that we play. We play the same way, whoever it is. And the other thing as well, right, if you had a look at that Brighton game, I mean, people say, yeah, well, we had Kudus out, we had Paqueta out. It is a massive deal to us, but we had nowhere near the level of injuries and first-team players out that Brighton did. But they still continue to play the same way because it's their system. It's their system that kind of wins and matches and it helps them progress. With West Ham, it isn't. It's the system that tries to stop teams from scoring, but it's individuals that win us matches. And we are so heavily reliant on your Paquetas and your Kudus. I mean, could you imagine life without Paqueta under David Moyes? I mean, you saw that the other day. Weren't great, was it? Let's be honest with ourselves. Sorry about the hair. It weren't great, was it? And people can say, oh, it's fatigue, it's this. No, it's not. It's just that's a similar performance to what we've seen all season long. The only difference is in the last few games, we've been defensively solid to the point where we've not conceded those goals that we've been trying to block. But we're yeah, like I say, there is a lifespan in this. I will be amazed. Amazed. I already am. So to a degree, I never expected us to have this period of form over December. I didn't, and we have done. But I still maintain I don't think you can continue this. You can't be lucky for 38 games, and we have been lucky. We have been. You know, you can call it what you want. You can say it's good defending, but every shot that an opponent has going straight down the keeper's throat, that's nothing but luck. You know, I'm sorry. You know, we offered nothing in that game, and what we did see after that game as well is we did see some actual really good balanced punditry on ESPN. They had Shaka Hislop, Frank LeBouf, and another guy, a Scotch guy on the panel. Absolutely, you know, completely destroyed our way of playing, and it was nice to hear an ex-Hammer and a few other pundits on the fans' side. The fans that are frustrated with this. The fans that are not just win at all costs. Do you know what I mean? Because football doesn't matter. It just really... I mean, what the fuck are you going to watch for if it don't matter? You know, the atmosphere over there was morgue-like. It was awful. And people can complain about the fans and say, oh, you know, you got to get behind the team. You got to lift your team. You go over there and try. And if you are over there, why can't we hear you? If you're over there, why are you not getting up and singing? Because we can't hear you over there. So for anyone that's critical of the fans that have to sit through that shit, get off your arse, go over there for a couple of games running and see how you cope with it. I'm not talking about away games, I'm talking about home games. Away games are different. It's a day out. It's a bit of fun. But nonetheless, there has been some interesting news, some massive news, and this is what I've been waiting for. Okay, and this isn't confirmed by any stretch. It's not. The article is in Hammers News, and it's taken from a chap called Damien Charles Lucas. And the headline of this news article is West Ham may want to hold off on David Moyes' deal after Didi Haman's Xabi Alonso comments. Now, basically, Leverkusen, we all know how well Leverkusen are doing at the moment. I think they've played 25 games and they haven't lost one yet. It's ridiculous. I think they've drawn 3 or 4. The rest have all been wins. Playing in blistering football. Blistering, beautiful attacking football. Playing the 3-4-3 that is deployed by Tim Steiten and Mark Noble's youth academy at West Ham. They're all playing that same way. They're playing that same system. Go elsewhere in Europe and try and find another team that are playing a 3-4-3 with wing-backs as the 2 wide players. Try and find it. We're playing exactly the same way as Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen. You know, it's no coincidence there at all. It's not. And as we know, Leverkusen have come out and they've said, look, we accept that Xabi Alonso probably will want to move on at the end of the year to another project, and we won't stand in his way. So they're expecting him to go. You know, they're expecting him. He did sign a contract extension because he's an honourable man to protect the club, because Leverkusen should cash in. Whoever comes and takes Alonso from Leverkusen should have to pay Leverkusen for taking the risk on him in the first place. They should. You know, and he's looked after them. They're going to look after him and be true to what I'm assuming their word was. And that's if he gets an opportunity that he wants to take, they will let him walk. Now, we know that the big boys have been mentioned. We know that Real Madrid were kind of front runners for Xabi Alonso. I could never see that deal happening anyway. As good as Alonso is, he's got no experience. He's got none. You know, this is his first full season in a job, if you like. You know, he was halfway through last year. He got brought in. He was brilliant. So I don't think he was ever going to get a big job. There's rumours that Bayern Munich are interested in him as well. I'm sure they're keeping an eye on him. But again, it's too soon for a manager with such little experience. It is. The Real Madrid job isn't going to happen anyway. You've got Carlo Ancelotti there at the moment. He was supposed to be going to Brazil, which was going to free up a space for a manager to take over at Real Madrid. But it's all changed there. It's got very political. Whoever's in charge now wants to have a Brazilian running the Brazilian national team, which is why Carlo Ancelotti has signed a contract extension to 2026. So the Real Madrid job is off. It's off anyway. Obviously, Bayern Munich is still there, but like I say, I don't think they're going to be going for Xabi Alonso just yet. I don't think they will. Now, we all know that Tim Steiten does have that relationship with him. You know, this is the article is titled, West Ham should hold off on David Moyes. Listen, we have got a chance. We've got a chance of getting this guy. A lot of people scoff at it, but could you imagine us getting him? Sorry, 1 minute. But could you imagine us getting Xabi Alonso? the excitement levels will be through the roof. Now, we are in for Jonathan Tah. We have been for about 3 or 4 windows. He is a Leverkusen player. But they're pushing for the league this year. So would Leverkusen want to move him on and kind of make themselves weaker for the final push? I doubt it. I do doubt it. Or could it be the case if Xabi Alonso is coming to West Ham, would he like to give us a leg up? Would he like to have one of his players already in place before he comes? And he's a big, dominating character, is Jonathan Tah. So it could be a good thing to get him in. We don't know. These things have a funny way of working. But if we do sell Nathan, sorry about the coughing. If we do sell Nathan Aguirre, we're going to have 30 million. We've got 10 million from Kera. That's 40 million. I know we're linked with Max Kilman for 40 million, but it ain't going to happen. They're not going to sell us their captain. Why would Kilman go from Wolves to West Ham? I just don't know. I hate this time of year. Yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen. Also, the other thing I'll say about Max Kilman, I'm sure he's only any good as part of a back three. They play a back three, Wolves. And I'm sure when a new manager came in before and they went to a back four and tried to put him as part of a back two, I'm sure there was problems there. I think he's really good as part of a back three, which we currently don't play. Now, obviously, we know that Xabi Alonso does. He plays that 3-4-3. But David Moyes typically doesn't. He plays with 2 at the back and 2 fullbacks. And 6 other players just in front of him. That's what he does. All in the 18-yard box, all squeezed in. But yeah, so Jonathan Tah is a big one. The other one that we are linked with, and this is all dependent, so I'm told, and so I've read, and so I've heard, on, what's his name? Jadon Sancho going from Man United back to Dortmund. So if that happens, which he's tipped to do, they want him, then Donyell Malen, he's an inside forward, but left-sided, so he's exactly what we want. He's a rapid, tricky winger that plays on the left side, but he's inverted, so it's the same thing. I'm assuming he's right-footed left winger. That's what you want. He's 24 years old, started his career at Arsenal through the youth academy, so the rumour is that he would count as a homegrown, which is something that we need. It's something that we've got to take into account. So Donyell Malen from Borussia Dortmund could very well be on his way to West Ham if Jadon Sancho goes the other way. It's someone that is on Super Tim's list. So look, what would you think about Xabi Alonso anyway? You know, I mean, even those of you that are staunch Moyes in, if you thought that we could get Xabi Alonso, surely you can see that is a way forward. You know, that's how we progress, irrespective of what you think David Moyes deserves. What would be better for West Ham? You know, like I said to you, everything, all the data, if you're into that type of thing, suggests we shouldn't be anywhere near where we are. We're outperforming in terms of points where we should be. We should be 13th. We've been shithousing wins. If David Moyes can manage to do that through to the end of the season, he's the luckiest man alive, and he should be given a new contract based just on that, because he's lucky. You know, why not buy some luck? But I can't see it. It will die off. We're bound to get some injuries eventually, and once Europe comes back and everything else, we tend to not finish too strong in the league once the money part of the European competition comes along. So I'll be very surprised if we finish anywhere near 6th, 7th, 8th place come the end of the season. I think we're more likely to be 10th to 12th. That's personally what I think. So, I mean, what would you want? Imagine if David Moyes was given a new contract now. Imagine that. Loads of people are calling for it. Loads of them are. You know, hundreds of them, thousands of them. Give him a new contract. But how would you feel if, fast forward, it went the same way as the Sam Allardyce season, right? So no European football next year, no Cups won this year, 10th, 12th place finish, which means you're watching this shit football, but we're starting to lose a lot. End of the season, the likes of Paqueta goes, possibly Kudus. Is he going to stay with no European football next year? We know that Liverpool are interested in Bowen. Klopp won't stop talking about him. So whether or not he's still got some form of release clause in his contracts that we just don't know about, I don't know. But Klopp is very vocal in his admiration of Bowen. I just don't know. So how would you feel then at this stage now if the second half of the season went to shit? Would you look back to this point in the season where you're supporting him getting a new contract now and think, well, that was a fucking stupid move. Why did we do that? Why didn't we just wait until the season played out to see how it went? Because could you imagine us without all of these players? Like I said to you, we saw West Ham, David Moyes' West Ham without Paqueta and Kudus the other day. It weren't fun, was it? And imagine that with no European football in the league next year, it would just be shit because the football's going to be the same. The football's going to be the same. He's never, ever going to change it. I made a show a little while ago saying that the low block is dead. It was a load of crap. The low block's never going to be gone. It's not. This is us now. And under Sullivan's tenure now as an owner, you know, we've had 4 years of Sam Allardyce and 4 years of this guy. The majority of the time, we've had these horrible dinosaur managers. So it's clearly something that David Sullivan likes because he gets these managers in and he sticks with them and he backs them because he sees them as safety and he sees no value whatsoever in entertainment, in entertaining his fans. None. So that bothers me. That bothers me greatly. But it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about that. I'm hoping that we're going to see a change in direction. I'm hoping that that what we've been told, that David Moyes isn't going to get his contract. That was never going to happen anyway, that there is a deal agreed with someone else. I'm hoping that deal was with Xabi Alonso. I really am. You know, there is no reason why we can't be going in for a guy, as well as he's doing this year. There's no reason why we can't be going in for a guy who's going to have had about 2 years experience at senior level management. By that point, you know, somebody's going to have to take. It's still a risk. Whoever takes him on, it's still a risk. But it is it'd be amazing. It would literally light up the fan base. Imagine watching that football. If you're the slightest bit concerned, go and watch Leverkusen highlights from this season. Just this season. Just watch the way that they play and the way they score goals. If you can't think back to when we played them at pre-season, just watch that and tell me if you wouldn't want to watch that type of football. It isn't holding onto the ball. It isn't possession-based nonsense. It's fast-paced attacking. Think Liverpool, the way they play, where they go back to front as quick as possible and they tear teams to pieces. That is what I want to see at West Ham. That's what I want to see. And we've got the players. We've got the foundation of the players to deliver that as well. We have. Oh, before I go as well, Jurassi. Jurassi is a player that Tim Stein does covet. He's got a £15 million release clause. It is someone that he wants to sign. David Moyes doesn't want a striker, just so you know. But Tim Stein could go out there and get the deal done anyway. I'm assuming we would have to move Danny Ings on, but I don't know who we would pay to take Danny Ings because that's probably what you'd have to do because we're going to struggle to find anyone to pay his wages. So there's a few deals there. So you've got Mallon, you've got Jonathan Tah. We're linked with Kilman, but I don't think that's going to happen. Would be a good signing. I do have concerns about him in the back too, but he's a good player. And like I say, Garassi, whatever his bloody name is. And there's loads of others. There's hundreds of others, but they're the ones that I can see. I can see anything in at the moment. But what you should do really is you should just look out for Fabrizio Romano's tweets because, as we know, Tim Stein got a link in with Fabrizio Romano. It's Romano that gets all the jet plane photographs. It's Romano that breaks all the exclusives with any Tim Stein signing. So they clearly talk. And there's some people that have a problem with this. I don't. You know, Tim Stein doesn't leak who we're interested in and who we're going after. Tim Stein leaks information to Fabrizio Romano when deals are done, which is what all the top teams do. He's the biggest ITK in the world. It's better than leaking it to Sky Sports. He's got millions and millions and millions of followers. Everyone follows him. He covers all of the top teams. I think that Tim Stein doing this with Fabrizio Romano makes our profile a little bit higher. It makes us look that little bit more sexy, especially with those jet plane photographs. It does. It's brilliant. It's genius. I don't know why anyone would have a problem with it. What is silly is when we're looking for players and people within the club leak who we might be going after. That's stupid. You don't need to do that. But leaking, once they're done and once it's, it's all signed. It's all signed and sealed. Yeah, go on, you can have it. You can have that story. There is nothing wrong with that. You know, he's the main man, Fabrizio. So if you're on Twitter, which I'm not anymore, I'll just get sent through all of his updates. Go and follow Fabrizio Romano because he's a man that seems to have all the news when it comes to West Ham signings at the moment. So yeah, really, really good actually, really good. But anyway, look, that's it from me. I hope you're all well. I'm going to go. I'm sure you're fed up with me coughing down the microphone. And I will speak to you all soon. All right, come on, you irons.